When emergency services arrived at a small house in a quiet Midwestern neighborhood, they expected a domestic disturbance. What they found instead would haunt them for years. The windows were shattered, the front door broken off its hinges, but the house wasn't ransacked. Nothing seemed stolen. In the living room, an untouched cup of tea sat on a coaster. Upstairs, a bedroom light was still on, yet the silence was deafening. The woman who lived there was nowhere to be found. She had simply vanished. That woman was Emily Carter, and her story begins with something so small, so seemingly insignificant, you'd never believe it could save a life. It started with a phone call. On October 12, 2023 at 8:46 p.m., Emily answered a number she didn't recognize. She normally wouldn't, but this time, something compelled her. On the other end was panic. "Jessica, he found me. He's coming to your house next. Please, just go." Emily blinked, confused. "I'm sorry, I think you have the wrong number." A moment of silence. Then just before the line went dead, "Get out. Now." The logical part of Emily's mind told her it was just a prank, or maybe a wrong number. But something deeper, more primal whispered, "Move." She grabbed her coat and stepped outside, heart pounding. 2 minutes later, a man forced his way through her back door. Neighbors heard the crash. Police were called. Within moments, they had the man in custody, a repeat offender, a stalker. He had been following a woman named Jessica for weeks, tracking her home, watching her routines. Only one problem: he had the wrong address. Investigators would later discover he had written down Jessica's street number incorrectly. The phone number? Also wrong, off by a single digit. That digit had saved Emily's life. What unfolded next stunned even seasoned detectives. The intruder believed Emily was Jessica. He came with rope, gloves, and a weapon. Had she stayed inside, she would not have stood a chance. But she hadn't. She had listened to a voice meant for someone else. And that mistake, one tiny misdialed number, had changed everything. Over the following weeks, Emily's story spread across the internet. "Wrong number saves woman's life," read the headlines. But beneath the sensationalism lay a deeper, darker truth. We are all one twist of fate away from disaster, or salvation. The police traced the call to a burner phone discarded near a public payphone in a different city. Jessica, the intended recipient, was never found. Some believe she made the call herself, then vanished to escape her stalker. Others think the voice wasn't Jessica at all, that someone else knew what was coming. Theories spiraled, conspiracies bloomed. But Emily didn't care. She was alive. And every year since, she's left her porch light on at exactly 8:46 p.m. Not in fear, in gratitude. Because the call that wasn't meant for her gave her something no one else could, a second chance. It was a tale whispered among deep-sea sailors and passed along by oil rig workers in the middle of night shifts. An island, untouched, unnamed, and unseen by satellite. They called it Null Isle, not because it didn't exist, but because it wasn't supposed to. Sam Calder, a cartographer turned freelancer with a love for forgotten coastlines, first heard the name at a worn-out dock bar in Port Moresby. A grizzled sailor, drunk but lucid, leaned over and slurred, "There's a spot east of the Solomons, ain't on GPS, ain't on radar. Sky dims when you approach, compass don't point north, and no bird flies over it." Most would laugh. Sam didn't. He'd seen things, discrepancies in marine charts, strange spikes in bathymetric sonar, rumors suppressed by multinational shipping companies. He'd even filed a report once about an anomalous landmass that briefly flickered on a sonar scan north of Fiji. The report vanished within a week. Obsessed, Sam began digging. He contacted sailors, historians, and smugglers. He found references in journals from the 1600s where pirates spoke of a sliver of stone and jungle where the sea hums at night. The last known coordinates came from a retired Navy sonar tech who swore he'd been told to forget he saw it. Sam rented a research vessel, small crew, low profile. He didn't file a destination manifest. He left a note with his sister. "If I disappear, it wasn't by accident. Look for Null Isle." 5 days into the Pacific, the weather changed. The clouds gathered too quickly. Birds vanished. Instruments began to malfunction. The ship's GPS froze, then glitched into foreign characters. The compass spun slowly, like a lazy clock. Then they saw it. Jagged black cliffs, rising like teeth from the ocean, cloaked in mist that shimmered like oil. No vegetation at first, just rock and shadows. As they drew closer, green emerged, unnaturally lush. Trees that didn't belong to any known biome. Flowers that seemed to shift color depending on the light. And silence. No waves, no wind, no sound. They anchored and came ashore. The ground pulsed faintly beneath their boots, as though the island were breathing. A deep humming resonated underfoot, just below the threshold of hearing. Sam's crew, 4 seasoned explorers, grew uneasy. One, Mariana, refused to go farther inland. Sam pressed on. They documented everything. Photos, samples, voice notes. But the photos blurred inexplicably. The samples decayed within minutes. The notes played back with distortion. A creeping realization took hold. The island was rejecting being known. They found ruins, structures swallowed by vines, stones shaped by intelligent hands, symbols neither Polynesian nor Micronesian. A temple of sorts, with an altar stained dark. In its center, a smooth black sphere, the size of a bowling ball, resting in a shallow depression. No one touched it. On the 3rd day, one crew member, Finn, went missing. No trace. Footsteps echoed wrong. Daylight came late and left early. Sam began to suspect the island shifted when unobserved. On the 4th day, Mariana insisted they leave. She was pale, eyes haunted. "It's not just uncharted," she whispered. "It's forbidden. It doesn't want us here." That night, Sam dreamed of a great eye beneath the island, watching him from the deep. When he woke, his watch had stopped. All their electronics were dead. Even the emergency beacon blinked erratically. By the 6th day, the mist thickened. The cliffs they descended from were no longer there. The shoreline had changed. They were trapped. Sam left a journal in a sealed container near the shore. "In case we don't make it," he wrote. "This island exists. It's aware. It edits itself out of memory, out of map, out of time. No isle is real." Only Mariana and Sam remained by the 8th day. The others were gone, vanished without sound or struggle. She begged him to leave. Finally, the mist lifted enough to glimpse a shadow in the sea, a distant tanker. They set a flare. By some miracle, it was seen. A rescue team brought them aboard. Weak, dehydrated, and raving, they were flown to a military base. They told their story. The journal had vanished. The satellite images were blank. The authorities dismissed them as delusional. They were released with a warning. "Tell no one. There is no such island." Years later, Sam lives off-grid. He draws the island from memory over and over, but the shape always changes. Mariana won't speak about it. But on stormy nights, he swears he hears that hum again, low, alive, and waiting. They found something that shouldn't exist, and it remembers them. Sam once tried to map the island's location again, using crude celestial tracking from the days they drifted after rescue. But the stars didn't align. He compared ocean currents, ship logs, even weather patterns. Still nothing. He published a fictionalized article under a pseudonym. It was immediately taken down by the site moderators. Not flagged, not rejected, removed without explanation. No trace remained. Sometimes at night, he receives calls from blocked numbers. No voice, just a low hum. The exact resonance of the one beneath Null Isle. He keeps the phone anyway. It's proof of something. Mariana changed her name, moved inland far from any coast. Sam tracked her down once. She begged him to stop searching. "You'll draw it back," she said. "It doesn't like being remembered." And so he waits, recording what he can, whispering what he remembers, in case someone else finds it. Or it finds them.